So today is what? The precipitation day, right? So you need to remember that we are going to form insoluble salts by the precipitation method, right? We know that it is very simple for us. अगर आपको solubility series याद है, तो you can identify a salt as soluble or insoluble if the salt is insoluble. If the salt is insoluble, तो आपको ज़्यादा दिमाग लगाने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. That's simple and specified that you need to use what? Precipitation method, right? आपके पास कोई salt है, आपने देखा कि वो insoluble है, तो we don't need to use that कि reactant soluble होंगे, insoluble होंगे, filtration होगी या mixing होगी. इतना सब कुछ सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. We just need to use precipitation for the insoluble salts, right? And it is a very simple method. It is very simple method, right? Just need to keep remember 4 things over here, right? First of all, just look at over here. For example, you need to form barium sulfate. This is one of the insoluble salt. We know that all the sulfates are soluble except calcium, barium, and lead. So this is one of the insoluble salt. So for example, बच्चों, you are going to form this salt. तो आपने ये बनाना कैसे? You always remember this, that if you are going to form insoluble salt, remember you need to mix 2 soluble salts. Remember, mix 2 soluble salt. Mix 2 soluble salts. I'm using the word soluble salts. Mix 2 soluble salt. This is the most important point. Just you need to keep remember this. It's a very much important. Over here in the precipitation method, what you need to do, you need to mix 2 soluble salts. अब जो 2 soluble salt आप mix करने लगे हो बच्चों, you need to keep remember उसमें एक में आपके पास होना चाहिए barium. One salt should have barium and one salt should have sulfate, right? So if I want to form barium sulfate, so I need to select 2 soluble salts. I need to select 2 soluble salt, and one of them should contain barium and one of them should contain sulfate ion. So for me, barium nitrate is easy to select because we know that all the nitrates are soluble in water, right? And we can even use what? Sodium sulfate, because all the salts of sodium are soluble in water, right? Even you can use sulfuric acid, but this is acid. We know that there is no reaction of sulfuric acid with barium nitrate, but right now, yes, anyone want to say something?
प्लेट ले और केचप भी ले आना जरा.
बेटा ये केचप और प्लेट बाद में खा लेना. कौन खा रहा है भाई? अकेले अकेले एक तो आप खा रही हैं, ऊपर से फिर सबको बता रही हैं. That's not good. चलें. खैर, we are talking about what soluble salts. So आप यहाँ पर sulfuric acid भी use कर सकते हो, और you need to keep remember कि आप यहाँ पर barium chloride भी use कर सकते हो. You know that all the salts of chloride or soluble silver and lead के अलावा, ठीक है ना, तो आप ये भी use कर सकते हो. When you mix them, there is actually exchange of their partners occur, right? So यहाँ क्या होगा? Sodium is more reactive, so it will displace barium. So it will be like आपके पास बन जाएगा sodium nitrate and plus barium sulfate, right? So this will be like a reaction over there. और यहाँ क्या बनेगा आपके पास? Same as it is, you will have HCl to form with barium sulfate. So you can see this in both of the cases. The reaction shows that you have barium sulfate to produce, right? And we know that we use 2 soluble salts, right? We use 2 soluble salts. Over here we are using sulfuric acid, but it can be known as a salt because it is some of positive and negatives over there. So just suppose this, that right now it is soluble salt. The problem of this mixing is actually, you can see this in the product, we have one HCl as well, which is strong acid. So that is why we try to form salts by mixing 2 soluble salts, right? If you use sulfuric acid or any acid over there, definitely after the reaction you will find one more acid in the product, and it will cause some problem for you once you are going to filter and forming something in the product. So you know that acids are hazardous. We need to avoid acids formation. This is what soluble salt, and this is insoluble one. This is again soluble one, and this is insoluble one. So you can see this, among all the soluble substances we have one insoluble. ठीक है ना, आपके पास इतने सारों में से एक insoluble है. अब फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपके पास कहीं रिएक्शन हो रहा है और वहां पर कोई सॉलिड प्रोडक्ट बनती है, तो ऐसा नहीं होता कि आपने दो सॉल्यूशंस को मिलाया और कोई एक बहुत बड़ा सा जो है ना इस सॉलिड ब्लॉक बन गया. ऐसा नहीं होता. तो जो सॉलिड ब्लॉक्स होते हैं वो छोटे छोटे पार्टिकल्स की फॉर्म में बनते हैं, एंड दैट पार्टिकल्स आर नोन एज precipitates. ये कहलाते हैं आपके पास precipitates, right? So this is what precipitates, right? यहाँ पर आपके बनेंगे किसके, बैरियम सल्फेट के precipitates. जो सॉलिड फॉर्म में आपके पास बन रहा है तो वो बनेंगे आपके पास precipitates. उसको हम बोलते हैं precipitates. That is why the process is known as precipitation method. इस वजह से इस प्रोसेस को आप कह रहे हैं precipitation method. जी बेटे, कोई कुछ कहना चाह रहा है? चलें, तो ये हो गया आपके पास मेथड. नाउ यू नीड टू रिमेंबर दिस कि हमें इसको लिखना कैसे. सो वी जस्ट नीड टू रिमेंबर 4 स्टेप्स. नंबर 1 मिक्स, नंबर 2 फिल्टर, नंबर 3 washing, number 4 drying, right? So these are the 4 steps that you need to keep. Remember, mix 2 soluble salts, then filter them, wash, then dry, right? अब इसको लिखेंगे किस तरह, इसको हम इसको लिख लेंगे इस तरह, that take for suppose for suppose barium chloride in the beaker. Take barium chloride in the beaker, right? Then add dilute. We always need to use dilute acids in laboratories. Add dilute sulfuric acid in the beaker, right? Stir the mixture, right? You will find the formation of precipitates over there. Once all the precipitates forms, they are just starting down in the bottom, or they may be on the top as well if the density is lower, but this is not the matter, right? The thing is, once all the precipitates are formed and the reaction is over, you can filter the precipitates, right? This time you need to have precipitates, so filter the precipitates of barium sulfate. Filter the precipitates of barium sulfate. Now we know that the barium sulfate is insoluble one, so we can wash them with water as well, and it can be a distilled water because these are already insoluble. And why we are washing them? Because we know that out of 4, 3 salts in the equation and the reaction are soluble ones. So if there will be any type of impurities over there in barium sulfate, so definitely by washing with water, they are going to be solubilized and move towards the filtrate, right? So you need to say that wash the precipitates with distilled water. Wash the precipitates with distilled water. Once you wash them, you can dry them in oven, right? Because they are insoluble ones, so their melting and boiling point will definitely be high, right? So you can you can dry them in oven, right? Wash the precipitates with distilled water and then dry them in oven. Dry them in oven, right? We know that we need to evaporate water or moisture content from there, definitely. So we need to heat the crystal accordingly. For example, अगर आप उसको ओवन में डाल रहे हो तो इसका हरगिज़ मतलब नहीं आप उसको 1000 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड पे डाल दोगे. We know that we just need to separate the water moisture over there. तो हम उसको 100 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड पे या 80 डिग्री पे रखेंगे तो आराम से क्या हो जाएगा, मॉइस्चर कंटेंट वहां से रिमूव हो जाएगा, right? So we are using oven just to make sure that the reaction should be quick. Is that clear, every one of you? Yes, everyone, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
यहाँ पर बच्चों देखो, सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज यहाँ पर जो आती है वो आती है आपके पास आयोनिक इक्वेशन. Over here, the very much important thing is ionic equation to remember. What is ionic equation? They can, right now we are mixing 2 soluble salts, right? And we are forming 2 salts. Out of them, one is insoluble, which is our main purpose. हम इस salt को बना रहे हैं, तो अगर वो कहे कि आप इसकी ionic equation लिखो, so definitely barium sulfate is our main concern, right? So we are actually forming barium sulfate. तो जो salt आप बना रहे होते हो आप उसकी ionic equation लिखते हो. So how can we write the ionic equation for this? We know that barium sulfate बनाने के लिए हमने barium use किया है और sulfate use किया है. These are the two main components over there in the reaction. हमने reaction करने से पहले इन दोनों को देखा था. So barium ion should be there and sulfate ion should be there, and we know that we select soluble salts for these two and they form insoluble barium sulfate. So this one will be ionic equation for the barium sulfate. Is that clear, every one of you? Yes, every one of you, is that clear?
Yes.
Challenge. Now the task is what you need to do. You need to form or you need to show methods by which you can form or the working by which you can form silver chloride. Just do it quick. You need to show me the full equation. You need to show me the methods or the steps of formation, and then you need to show me the ionic equation for this as well. Just do it quick and send me on my WhatsApp so I can check you're doing right or not.